Okay, another nighttime ride in Los Angeles. This is a cute part of Los Angeles. We're on the west side, the northwest side. It's nowhere near as interesting as it is in East LA. We'll have to take a trip down there some night. Get downtown, Silver Lake, Hollywood area. But we have time constraints, so this will do. So tomorrow we're gonna go out and take a ride through the Malibu canyons, nice and early. I just cleaned and lubed the chain. Put some gas in it. And I just couldn't resist the temptation to go out for a quick spin. I know, I'm sad. It's just the way it is. Go this way instead. I think went the other way last time. And if anybody's watching these videos, I'm gonna bore you, but I'll at least bore you on a different path. So this is Venice Boulevard. It's early evening, so it's still pretty quiet. All the crackheads are stuck inside, getting worked up so they can come out and cause some havoc a little later. I guess it's the calm before the storm. Mar Vista Bolero. It's the third bowling place I've seen in this part of LA. 3 square mile area. People love bowling around here. Surprisingly, they must. Oh, they're doing some other funky shit in those bowling alleys. That's probably more likely. Total idiot. You know, at first I felt bad about not waving to every black guy roadblock, but there's so many around here. You'd go insane after a while. I mean, if you're passing someone on the road and it's relatively open between the two of you, fine. But if you're like at opposing lights in the middle of traffic, I mean, it's everybody's own prerogative, but I kind of limit that. If I'm next to somebody at a light, of course, I'll make an effort to say hello. I guess there's the difference between being polite and being desperate, but it's open for interpretation. I hate mystery wetness on the road. What is that? Is it urine? Oil? Water? Guess I'll find out when I try to start my rear tire. I got some major fog issues. So we're heading towards the beach. Venice Boulevard. Should hit Venice down here pretty soon. Gonna do a quick spin through Santa Monica. And those creepy little side roads that lay east of Santa Monica. Deuce. Good old Deuce. That place is like a coffee shop. I was gonna stop in there, but I should at some point. So I have a confession to make. After I first got this thing, I was at a light next to a Harley or a Cruiser. I would gun it just to sort of figure out how quick this thing was. I mean, obviously the person next to me wasn't necessarily even trying to go the slightest bit faster to race me, but juvenile insecurity, and I'm not that young, so it's really embarrassing. But I figured out it was probably pretty quick, because this thing would just take off much faster than any Cruiser I went up next to. Even the ones that seemed to press it a little bit, which isn't that surprising. But I've really been trying to lay off that. Maybe it's something other people have gone through as well. But I just want to make a public apology for being a douche. Yeah, never mind me, I just have a 6-inch projection sticking out of the side of my helmet. At least. Nothing to see here. I think I may have mentioned it in the last video. I have a Sony AS, I forget the actual name, but it's AS20. Maybe there's a couple other letters or digits in there somewhere, but I think you guys get my point. It's pretty streamlined, which I liked at first, until I realized that when you mount the thing, the more conspicuous and much best streamlined way of mounting seems to be like right on the mask, like a front mount. I think most of you guys know what I'm talking about. It lies like almost flush with the chin bar on a full face helmet. If you don't have a GoPro and you have something like this Sony that I'm using here, what the fuck? I think that's an advertisement or something, or some sort of display. Advise people to stay sober while they're driving. Good old Venice. I think sticking at these people is a bad idea. Let us get ahead. Let us fly. Ooh. Oh yeah, so the, woof, watch out for those. You know, it's amazing how small a pothole can disrupt a motorcycle. In a car, these little potholes are no big deal, but you hit that with your front tire, you're not paying attention. I'm sure that could kill you in the right circumstance. I know, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the GoPro is much more amenable to socially acceptable way of taking a video while you ride. So I have this huge arm sticking out the side of my head right now, because I'm not aware of a front mount on this thing. If you guys do know of a Sony front mount, let me know, but once again, it'll probably look like I have a penis sticking out of my chin. Because as opposed to being like a flat box, this thing is, well, it's like a video camera shape. It's long and projects outwards. And you try to stick these in the side of the helmet thinking that it can sort of be streamlined, but inevitably half your field of view is helmet. Gotta get some plates in this bad boy. I'm about, what am I? Pushing 3 months overdue for plates after buying a new vehicle. You're totally cool about it. Basically told me to have a good time. This is always packed. A little cha-cha. Give me some of that cha-cha. So downtown area, Santa Monica, straight ahead. We'll swing by there before we pack it in for the evening. Humid out today. It's kind of nasty. Fairly nice hotel. All the buses. It's funny, I mean, people flock to these areas that are known to be nice. You know, Santa Monica is one of them. You know, not the world's greatest attraction, but it's amazing how much international traffic this place gets. I should have waved at that guy for not hitting me. That's what you feel like on a motorcycle. That dude really should have ran me over and not seen me, but you know, people in LA are more alert than I would assume. Not they let my guard down, but It's no safe either. Anyway, people flock to nice places. And they get, I mean, a lot of the attractions, they get so cluttered. Kind of removes any innate beauty that they once had that caused the attraction in the first place. Because they're just so crammed full of people. It's not bad around here tonight though, it's still pretty cool. But I'd have to say the coolest thing I've seen here is there's like seals that hang out right off the dock in Santa Monica Pier. Just hanging out. Next to fishing lines. It's not something I grew up seeing. I'm from the East Coast. You see seals swimming around, you're in an aquarium, or you're watching National Geographic. Oh yeah. Tomorrow will be better. We have to get away from these red lights. Kind of a downer. And there's so much news lately about Black Americans. I mean, just getting beat up by police, shot. I mean, just constant profiling. And I'm so removed from the situation. I mean, unless you're in law enforcement or you're a Black American, I really don't think you have a lot of room to comment. And you know, so much in news, you always question whether or not it's really going down so much more often, or whether or not there's just more light being shed onto a popular topic. My personal opinion, that guy just totally stalled. I've been there before. Personal opinion is that white people are scared of black people. Because not only humans, all creatures fear the unknown. And when people look different than you, and talk different than you, and can have some dominant characteristics, whether it be physical size or athleticism, people get intimidated. And we all know that you know, fear is the basis of a lot of evil. It's some sort of survival trait. Anyway, I think there's certainly something to it, and not that that's a big revelation or anything, but it just reminded me of that, because I just got pulled over at night on a motorcycle with registration that's 3 months past due, and cops are nothing but pleasant with me. That being said, I shut my bike off, turned the camera off, was very polite to them, so I didn't give them a reason. But I am pretty sure there are cases where Black American has acted the same and was treated very poorly. Not only Black Americans, I'm sure it happens with Asian Americans, Latinos. Anybody with a different color skin that seems to come from a different culture. Anyone that appears to have some origin in the Middle East, or be collectively lumped into the group of Muslim. It's a dirty world. I spend so little time, hanging around the streets. I've lived in a few major cities, but the line of work I'm in, I'm buried in a building. So often I have very little exposure to the outside world. It'd be nice to just spend a year cruising the streets and learning about the world a little bit. I guess that's what wealth buys you eventually. Got an old Sawtell. This road is full of cool restaurants. I mean, they're pretty dense. A little cluster over there, but you see further up, and there's a lot of good Asian restaurants around here. If anyone's familiar with the west side of LA, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe tomorrow I'll spend more time talking about the bike as well. I know last time I made a video, I mentioned on the Yamaha FC07, one of the problems with me the fuck are you doing over there? See, that's the example of someone who's a fucking idiot or just high walking the street. And even people teeter next to crosswalks in some sort of weird drunken state, or they're like waiting for somebody at a crosswalk. I mean, if you're waiting for someone to pick you up, can you avoid the crosswalks? I mean, they're not everywhere, because you just fuck with traffic. It's just being an inattentive idiot. It's kind of like someone who makes a U-turn in front of you in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's one thing if you make an illegal U-turn, fine, we've all done it. When you get a car right behind you that's not expecting you to turn, you suddenly jack your brakes on in a place where you shouldn't be making a U-turn, expecting not to get hit and not to kill the person that's riding behind you. You're an ass. Be it intentional or not. I think we're going to turn it in. We'll make it a short trip.